Tesla stock also formed a hammer candlestick pattern, which is very bullish. The hammer candlestick is a bullish trading pattern that suggests a stock has found its bottom and is poised for a trend reversal. It means that sellers entered the market and drove the price down, but were eventually outnumbered by purchasers who drove the asset price up. This is a hammer candlestick, right? Look, right here. That's exactly what you got on Friday. It's a very good sign for this upcoming week. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lots of Tesla stock breaking news today. First up, the new Tesla Model Y orders have surpassed 50,000 in a single day in China. The 2025 Tesla Model Y, officially unveiled yesterday, is already generating massive interest. Shared other data reveals that over 50,000 orders were placed in China within just one day. According to a report by Miran Auto, a single store in Hebei province recorded nearly 300 orders on Friday alone. Customers visiting to see the new Model Y were informed that the vehicle will be available in showrooms by the end of January. Despite Tesla's competitors offering more advantageous features and pricing on paper, the brand seems to have no trouble with demand in China. Tesla continues to accept orders for delivery as early as March. And this could be something that really goes underlooked until we start to see the evidence of this, and that really is an increase in demand for Teslas over in China. Just imagine that. Imagine if the Model Y does have this big demand effect in China. I think that could be an upside surprise to Tesla stock at this point. Next up, it is being reported today that 2 different full self-driving updates are heading out on the same Tesla software update. First off, for hardware 3 vehicles, you have V12.6.1 that is rolling out. So what they say, significant enhancements to the end-to-end architecture for hardware 3. For hardware 4 vehicles, FSD supervised V13.2.4 is rolling out today. Also in the news today, Elon Musk confirms that he ran full force at a 350-pound sumo wrestler in order to overcome the 100-pound mass difference via velocity in the momentum exchange. He confirms he did knock the sumo wrestler over, but smashed his neck in the process. And Elon Musk confirms that he has recently gotten neck surgery, is now recovering from this, and this is now the 5th back and neck operation. It is being reported today via Unusual Whales that, quote, the dam is about to break as U.S. credit card loan defaults are soaring, as per the New York Post. This also follows news last week that revolving credit, aka credit card debt, is plummeting on a month-over-month basis, the likes in which we have not seen since the COVID crash recession. Not a great sign for the economy, which I think really throws into question, are we going to see this massive round of inflation again, as Wall Street is growing to expect, when you're seeing credit cards being paid down, when you're seeing people that are now starting to be a little bit more conservative with their spending behaviors. Ultimately, I don't think this is something that we should be too concerned with at this point. I think it is disinflationary after all. And in fact, I don't think Trump tariffs will be inflationary the way that the markets expect. And if this week's CPI report and PPI report confirm that we are continuing to make progress on inflation, that's going to be a big sigh of relief for investors. And especially for Tesla stock. Now, take a listen to this. Bloomberg is reporting with 5,800 proving support on the S&P and VIX failing at 20 plus, it is likely the algos flash a short on vol into next week's CPI. This would in turn force the dealer community to buy equities, creating a Vanna-driven recovery from the current sell-off. Jim Thorne says that Tesla will lead the next phase of AI growth. He says Tesla stock can soon be at a $700 price tag, which sounds crazy to a lot of even Tesla bulls right now because we're in the 390s. I actually have a price target over $900 by the end of this year, if all goes well, of course. It is also in the news today that a senior official over in Canada says, quote, tariff retaliation options are being considered. And I wrote on X, a Canadian/US trade war, exactly what the US market needs right about now. LOL. Also, just to put the recent market weakness into a little bit of perspective, there is no S&P 500 specific sector that is above its 50-day moving average. Semiconductors, technology, small caps, cyclicals, industrials, materials, financials, none of them are above their 50-day moving average. That's pretty rough. You have not been at this point since October of 2023. Even during the correction in April and in August of 2024, you still had, 2 to 3 sectors above their 50-day moving average. Today, it's 0. I mean, there was only really 2 different instances, even in 2022, where no sectors were above their 50-day moving average. So this is pretty rare. And when you're this bearish, it's usually not the time to, continue to short, continue to be negative, waiting to buy the dip. It's usually the moment in which you want to buy the dip. It's usually the moment you want to actually throw everything in markets. Now, I think markets could fall a little bit more from here. We'll talk about that more in depth in the next video. But you don't see this kind of bearishness all too often. Now, Elon Musk has retweeted a post saying that Tesla's FSD V13 is the most incredible experience ever. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang said this week, the ChatGPT moment for General Robotics is just around the corner. And you know who's going to benefit from that the most? At least on the publicly traded markets? Tesla. There's really no other company. Symbotic does have some, obviously robotics properties, but it's not humanoid robotics. Tesla is the king of humanoid robotics if we're thinking about stocks that are listed on the general market. And Optimus really isn't even a part of the Tesla equation at this point. We're not buying Tesla stock today, or Wall Street is not generally, because of robotics, because of Optimus. But soon, as Jensen Huang thinks, this could be a part of the AI Tesla story. And Mike Investing says Tesla will outperform every stock in the US stock market this year. With a massive consolidation period Tesla had, followed by a breakout, is simply just the beginning. With major catalysts that are coming, and the whales are prepped and loaded, $800 plus calls for end of year. Tesla has donated multiple Cybertrucks to be utilized as battery banks for the Altadena Mountain Rescue at their station until power is restored. This is where the 14,200-acre Eaton fire is currently raging in LA. The fire department here says, or the Mountain Rescue says that, quote, this will greatly help the team to power radios, computers, and lights as we work into the dark. Take a look at the option activity on Friday. It was very good. You had 118 different trades totaling $92.5 million with a positive order value of 67%. That's not terrible considering on Friday the Russell was down over 2%. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow was all down over 1.5%. These are pretty encouraging numbers. And Tesla's price action really on Friday was super encouraging to me. I don't know about you guys, but Tesla obviously fell, hit a low of about 383, and then bounced back $10+ to close the day, and really seen a strong second half of the trading day versus obviously the first. As we will talk about a little bit more in depth in the next video, the markets are very negative right now, and especially following Friday. It wouldn't surprise me to get a bit of a move higher in this upcoming week. Now, if CPI and PPI comes out on Tuesday and CPI on Wednesday are positive and inflation is making progress, then we're likely to see a really strong end of the week for markets. Now, could you see a little bit of weakness maybe Tuesday if PPI comes in a little hot heading into CPI? Of course. Monday, though, I'm optimistic that we could see a bit of a recovery. That's what tends to happen when you kind of are this negative and you fall a lot on Friday. You tend to see a bit of a bounce on Monday, as long as the narrative really hasn't changed over the weekend, which as far as I can tell, it has not. Tesla stock also formed a hammer candlestick pattern, which is very bullish. I mean, let's just go ahead and hammer candlestick meaning. I mean, just do this on Google. It says the hammer candlestick is a bullish trading pattern that suggests a stock has found its bottom and is poised for a trend reversal. It means that sellers entered the market and drove the price down, but were eventually outnumbered by purchasers who drove the asset price up. This is a hammer candlestick, right? Look, right here. That's exactly what you got on Friday. It's a very good sign for this upcoming week. Now, what we seen on Friday, option buyers were targeting the $400 strike on Tesla. Now, these options are almost $1,000 that expire this upcoming Friday. So, like, you only expect so much activity, especially on such a bad day like we see on Friday. So that actually looks very encouraging to me. All things considered, $1,000 options had 32,000 for volume on Friday and currently have 29,000 contracts held in people's brokerage accounts. That looks pretty good. Even the 405 call had 37,000 for volume, $800 options. Same deal there, right? That's a lot of activity. The 410 call had $644. Or 600. These options were $644 on Friday, with 23,000 for volume. The 420 call at 19,000 for volume, still $400 options, right? So a lot of this activity is hedge funds and institutions. Now, I think where a lot of retail investors really traded in the options market in Tesla on Friday was this 440 call expiring by this Friday. With 44,000 for volume, these options are only $163. So it looks like retail and some hedge funds and institutions could be targeting Tesla to rise potentially up to that 440 level this week. And let me tell you, with a better than expected CPI report, with the right set of things that happen, that is in the cards for Tesla stock. Now, you've also seen over the past couple of trading days short sellers slowly covering on short positions. You have 175,000 shares that were covered on Friday. And over the past couple of days, really, you've seen shorts covering. Now, that's what you're supposed to see, right? When hedge funds, institutions cover on a short position as the stock is falling, that's good. That's a good sign. That means they're covering on, as they're getting gains in their short position or less of a loss, they're actually covering on that short position. So shorts covering is a positive sign that maybe we could reverse to the upside here pretty soon. Now, short interest of free flow sits at 2.88%. You have $31.84 billion sold short currently in Tesla, totaling 80.58 million shares that are currently sold short. So there's a lot of fuel on the fire with potentially a better than expected CPI report. With a good PPI report, you could definitely see the bearishness start to tilt and become a little bit less bearish. And that could mean Tesla stock really is going to outperform here because Tesla has a high beta. So that means Tesla on good days tends to do really good. On bad days tends to do really bad. Now, sentiment currently for Tesla over on StockTwits is coming in bearish at 44. Not surprising. Over the weekend, you tend to see a lot of bears come out just on any stock, and Tesla's no exception to that. 1 day ago, you were neutral at 50. Message volume today is low at 35. 1 day ago, it was at 39. And the participation ratio is high at 56. Google Trends data for Tesla products as well continues to be very strong. Model Y search trend activity has not been this strong in at least the past year. Okay, so it's been at least a year since the Model Y has been this high for search trend activity. And you recently had a big spike from the Cybertruck. I think that had to do with the Las Vegas Cybertruck exploding outside of Trump Tower. But this Model Y search trend activity picking up is a great sign. And as we kind of said at the beginning of this video, 50,000 Model Y orders were placed in China within a day or two of the new Model Y launching. That in and of itself is outright impressive. And the Google Trends data here might support that, although Google does not operate in China, so we're technically not seeing that represented here. But basically the rest of the world is seeing Model Y search trend activity exploding. I would say China's probably seeing the same thing. Now, you can also see alongside Tesla's favorable technical setup, the S&P also found a lot of support at that 100-day moving average. And, that's a good sign. If we can hold support here, great. If we fall below this, that's really bad because that opens us up for a lot of downside. But if we could find support here, we could start to retrace back potentially to that 50-day moving average at about 592. And if that happens, if you see the broader markets recover a bit, that's going to mean Tesla is going to recover even more, right? So that's kind of the setup here. I'll go over my specific expectations for Tesla stock in the next video, but I will tell you right here, right now, I'm optimistic. I've been optimistic for a while. I think markets are getting way too ahead of themselves, expecting aggressive Trump tariffs that'll cause inflation, which we don't even know if tariffs would cause inflation to begin with. And we don't know if tariffs are going to be large or if they're going to be small, if they're going to happen right away, or if this could be something that we're talking about a year from now, that tariffs do not immediately go into effect. So we'll see. All in all, I am pretty bullish on this upcoming week for Tesla stock. Let me know what you guys think about all of this information down below in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.